Are you craving more from your adult viewing? Real bodies, real pleasure, and fewer tropes, perhaps? Then you're in the right place. Join us here every month for the inside word on the social sex revolution with replays of the intimate, insightful, and inspiring discussions we get into during our real-world sex watch parties. I'm orgasmic doula, Goddess Erica, and I'm your host. Now get comfortable, because we're about to go deep.
And welcome to the social sex revolution. Oh, and I already have a comment in the comment section. If you don't mind me saying, Goddess, you're looking very sexy tonight. Thank you very much, Chaka Sickle. I don't mind you saying it at all. And welcome once again to our watch party. What we are going to be doing tonight, if you are unfamiliar with the way that our watch parties go, is we will be sharing previews of my favorite Make Love Not Porn content after we've had a detailed and in-depth discussion about tonight's theme. Tonight's theme is going to be water as a tool for meditation and for pleasure. And if you are here tonight and you've registered via Eventbrite, I have a very special gift for you as a thank you for joining and signing up for the watch party. You will be receiving a free viewing credit in your Make Love Not Porn account. If you don't already have a Make Love Not Porn account, then be sure after the watch party to sign up for an account. It's free to sign up. It's free to view previews. But if you want to get a little bit deeper and you want to have access to that free credit, which you can actually get every single time you sign up for a watch party. So that means you have the opportunity to get 12 credits every year as a token of gratitude for you joining our space tonight. But once you are registered for Make Love Not Porn, you can use that viewing credit to watch one of the previews in its entirety that we're going to see tonight, or to dig a little bit deeper into my own personal library of content on Make Love Not Porn as well. My handle on Make Love Not Porn is Yes Goddess Erica. Big Daddy will be dropping a link in the chat later on during the watch party that will have links to all of these different places where you can find all of the wonderful titillating content that is available on Make Love Not Porn. Also, I'd like to give a big thank you to our sponsors. I'd like to thank Make Love Not Porn for their support and helping make these watch parties possible. Without Make Love Not Porn and the permission of our community of Make Love Not Porn stars, who we often feature during the watch parties, we would be unable to enjoy the content that we are going to be enjoying tonight as a culmination to the discussion that we're going to be having. So thank you very much to Make Love Not Porn and the Make Love Not Porn community. Also, a fantastic thank you to Chicago Dungeon Rentals. As you can see, we are in the beautifully appointed Red Room in the Chicago Dungeon Rentals. It is located in the Chicago proper area, and it is available for rental. There are 3 different separate spaces that can be selected from for private exploration into your kinkiest and wildest dreams, from toys to tools to implements. Your imagination is really the limit when it comes to being in these spaces. If you are interested, again, in any of the details of these wonderful sponsors, Big Daddy will be dropping that information in the chat later as well. And also, once we are done with our discussion, please feel free to stick around after the previews of our videos for our lovely benediction. And with that, let's get started with tonight's theme: water as a tool for meditation. And what does that mean? Well, first, let's just talk about how water sustains us physically.
If you haven't had a sip of water today, or if you haven't had a sip of water in a while, take a moment now, perhaps, and sustain yourself. Human beings are about 80% water. We need it. We crave it. We cannot survive longer than a few days without it. It is part of our existence. When we are in utero, we are suspended in water. Water is just part of who we are. And with that, we often take it for granted. We take for granted how it physically sustains us, but it also metaphysically sustains us. We take for granted the fact that it holds our planet together as well. It's not just something that we need to subsist, but it is something that allows the entirety of the environments that support us to exist. If we look closely, we can see how the patterns of the way that water works in the environment actually works within us. We can think about patience in the way that water flows, in the way that it flows around, and it doesn't get blocked by stones and rivers or by obstacles. It just finds a new path. We can think about the rhythm of water, the sound of a burbling brook or a fountain or a waterfall, or even the dripping of your kitchen faucet. The rhythm of it can sustain us into a state of meditative contemplation. It can bring us in tune with our own rhythms. Listening to the tap tap of rain on your window should remind you of the beating of your heart. It should remind you of the pulse of the energy that is flowing within you. Your blood is mostly water. So water is constantly finding its way through you. How does that feel? Let's take a moment to meditate on it. Perhaps. I'd like for you to close your eyes, drop your shoulders away from your ears, and just slow and deepen your breath. I want you to allow the tension in your body to gently melt away as you scan from the top of your head down to the tips of your toes, beginning with unfurrowing your brow, unclenching your jaw, drawing in a deep breath as you feel your tongue drop from the roof of your mouth. Draw in another breath as you feel your shoulders melt even further away and your heart open and expand. Draw in another breath. Feel the tingle of your blood flowing through your veins as your belly rises and falls. Check in with your belly. Perhaps listen for a moment to see if you hear any burbling of your digestion, or maybe just the murmur of your own intuition. Draw in another breath and bring your attention to your solar plexus, your sacral, and now your root, as you feel the weight of your body press down against your seat, and you allow all of that tension to just melt out and away, down your legs. You are flowing like water. Your breath flows like water. Your thoughts flow like water. Your intentions, your desires.
The way that you move energy in a space flows like water. And that is divine. And that is the divine energy that subsists within us all. Draw in one last deep breath and exhale, thank you. Thank you in gratitude for practicing this moment of mindfulness. In gratitude for knowing that there are elements that sustain us, that when we pay attention to them, we can learn such wonderful things about ourselves, about our world, and about our pleasure, and about our potential. Thank you. And with that, let's continue to talk about how water is ubiquitous to our existence. I mentioned that we are suspended in water when we are in utero, and but did you know that for pregnant people, our blood volume actually increases by 50% during pregnancy? That's a lot of water, which often results in a lot of needing to pee, but it is for a good cause, because there is a lot of water needed to sustain our lives, to sustain our minds. Also, let's talk about birthing in water. Giving birth in water is something that can be a transformative experience. It's something that can help to ease the transition from being with child to being with baby. It is something that requires timing. And that's another lesson that we can learn from the water, that we must exercise patience, that we must take things slowly, deliberately, and with timing always in mind. And with timing, let's talk a little bit about what happens when we think about water in the realm of pleasure. Because, let's be honest, when you are with child, you have very likely experienced pleasure to get that way. So, what happens when we use water during our moments of pleasure? What happens when we allow ourselves to connect meditatively to the spiritual components of water, as well as the physical sustaining components of water? I think that there's a really beautiful line that we walk in those moments. When we're connecting with ourselves or connecting with another person, using water as a tool to do that can truly enhance the experience. It can feel transformative. It can take something that maybe it could be mundane or usual and literally add a splash. In Make Love Not Porn, water can be compared to the community. There is a flow in the community of Make Love Not Porn. It takes many forms. You can either be a viewer or you can be a person who is being viewed. If you are a viewer, first of all, let's just talk about how it's free to join, and it's free views, and it's easy ways to subscribe and bundle your your subscription. It's a really beautiful space to be in. But what about when you are the centerpiece of the action? How does that feel like water? I think that in those moments where you are immersed in the sensation of being observed, that it almost feels like being surrounded in water. When you are allowing yourself to be seen in your most vulnerable state, when you're allowing your lovemaking to be seen, it's like gifting someone with water. It's like gifting someone with the ability to quench their thirst on something that is truly real. This isn't the saccharine, fake, manufactured content that you see on mainstream porn. This is not people performing for the camera. This is not people having to check boxes in order to satisfy an algorithm. As a matter of fact, there are very few algorithmic functions happening in the way that the content is served on Make Love Not Porn, and it's entirely intentional. The intention is for you to explore and to find people and scenarios and experiences that align with your interests, as opposed to the site itself dictating to you where you should go. And that flows like water. I remember as a teen exploring the internet for the first time, and I don't think people use this term anymore, but I used to surf the net. And there's something that feels like surfing when you are on Make Love Not Porn. It's hard to describe precisely, but it begins with exploring perhaps on their main page, where they have a beautiful layout of the newest content that has been uploaded that day, as well as some most popular themes that people are often searching for. And if you click on something on the main page, perhaps something new, when you get to that piece of content, you will also be able to see things that other videos that the Make Love Not Porn star has posted, and you may also be able to see other pieces of other posts or uploads that the Make Love Not Porn star has also enjoyed from other Make Love Not Porn stars, because this is a community. So people are watching each other's content. I love watching the content of other Make Love Not Porn stars. It's not just for me to post and hope that people see my content. I have my favorites. I have couples that I love watching their energy. I have individuals that I love watching their passion and the way that they love themselves. You begin to develop parasocial connections to the people on Make Love Not Porn. That flows like water. And that is very rare in the spaces that we occupy on the internet. There are so few spaces that when it is safe to talk about sex or to express yourself sexually, that there is not something else driving the conversation or driving the experience. The only thing driving your experience when you surf onto Make Love Not Porn site is your desire and your interest and where you find yourself. You may surprise yourself, or maybe you won't. Also, I want to talk about how inclusive Make Love Not Porn is. So as you are finding yourself searching through this site, as you are finding shower scenes and pool scenes and people having the most amazing times in bathtubs and splashing or making splashes, you are going to see so many different expressions of that kind of pleasure. You're going to see it in the fluidity of gender. You're going to see it in the fluidity of pairings of couples or even groupings of people. You're going to see it in the range of ages and body sizes and hair and every different way that you can express yourself as a human being. It is showcased and celebrated and honored in this space. It's not othered. It's not made to be something that is treated like a spectacle. It is a place where you can earnestly show your pleasure and also get paid for it. I have to mention that when you become a Make Love Not Porn star, and I do hope that some of you in our audience consider sharing your content. Solo content is also something that is absolutely beautiful to observe. In February, I believe we talked about solo content and how, or no, maybe it was March, for men's pleasure, I believe. We talked about how amazing it is to see men get creative with their own self-pleasure. There are so few spaces where men are welcomed and celebrated for expressing themselves this way, but it's because the container is created so that it is a safe space for you to do that, and where abuse cannot be left to fester. So, you've thought about it. If you post it, I'll watch it. So just so you know, you will have at least one view, and definitely more, because Make Love Not Porn is also really excellent at promoting their uploads and the content that is uploaded to their site. All you have to do, if you have been considering becoming a Make Love Not Porn star, well, first of all, let's talk about the financial part of it, right? For every video that you upload, Make Love Not Porn splits the profits 50-50. The money that they take is used to maintain the site and keep it safe, and to keep their curators employed, so that when you upload a video to their site, an actual human being, and this is what human curated means, an actual human being looks at your video from beginning to end to make sure that who is in the video is who says they're in the video. So whoever loaded their ID when the video was uploaded, the curators check the videos to make sure that everyone in the video is who's in the video, that there is nothing harmful going on, that there are no issues that could make the video unviewable, perhaps copyrighted things in the background, whether that's sound or whether that is speaking of sound, I think there's a band. So in case things like that happen, but If there is anything going on in the video that could make it unusable, the curators take a look at it and inform you so that you're able to get the most out of your upload, and so that the people who are enjoying your upload can enjoy it to the utmost of their abilities. The copyrighted music is the thing that I was going to say. I was so incredibly distracted by that. They also check to make sure that any music that's using... Oh, good. I'm glad that you can't hear it. The curators make sure that there is no copyrighted music in the videos, because copyrighted music is illegal. So any music that's used has to be either owned by you, created by you, or purchased and licensed to you. And they make sure that that is all said and done, so that you are, yes, public domain for public domain, so that you are able to have your content and enjoy it too. Also, they do, like I said, the promotion for your content. You are free to promote your own content, but they also do promotion for it. So it's just a really beautiful like symbiotic relationship where they're benefiting and you're benefiting, and we're all benefiting alongside you. And isn't that a little bit like water too, where we're all kind of flowing together and getting a little bit of something, gaining a little bit of something from the experience? I think so. Also, I would like to talk about one last component of safety with Make Love Not Porn. Every video that is posted to their site is, they request that it not be posted anywhere else, and this is to make sure that there are no pirating issues going on outside of the site. They also make sure that if anyone ever wants to remove content from their site, that they remove it very quickly, no questions asked. And that's something that you don't usually get from other video sharing sites, where the site keeps ownership of your content. Make Love Not Porn does not own your content. It continues to be yours, and they are the custodians of it as it exists in their space, and that's it. And that is a rarity, and it's also a really great feature. It's also the reason why Make Love Not Porn is the only place that I share my spicy content, because I believe so wholeheartedly in the platform. But I've talked enough about how awesome the site is. You probably want to see what I'm talking about. Tonight, what we are going to be watching is 3 fantastic previews that demonstrate the beauty of water, the way that it connects us, the way that we connect to ourselves, to our bodies, to our environment, to our experiences. It is going to be enjoyable. So, if you're ready, Big Daddy, let's roll the first video, and it is by Sex Bliss. All right, that was Sex Bliss. I love the underwater shot. I had to stop to say that, but we're gonna keep moving. The next video is by 66. I love the lighting. I love the angles. I love the color of her hair. Our next video is by Chubby Dip. I love the act of using water to prep for pleasure, by using pleasure to prep for pleasure. That was delicious. That was actually our last video, and I just want to talk about all three very briefly before we get into our benediction. If anyone has any comments or thoughts, feel free to drop them in the chat. But these were three beautiful, very different interpretations of how water can be used for pleasure. And yes, they were all immersed in water in one way or another, but the way that the water was used, the way that the being in a pool and being surrounded by water and being out in the open and being on vacation sex, the flow of being able to flow into that kind of state. And then the water in the bathtub. Bathtub sex is so hard, but it is so fucking worth it. I love bathtub sex because when you are having sex in the bathtub, you are committed to the action. You are committed to it. You are so ready to go that you are going to contort yourself in whatever way is required to make it work. And that makes it work even more. It is delicious. It is... Bathtub sex speaks to a hunger. Yes. And then the last one, the shower head. Getting off in the shower is one of my favorite ways to self-pleasure. So I loved the way that she used the shower wand. I loved the sitting down and just like allowing your focus to only be on that one part of your body. There is something so incredibly releasing about that. Water can free us. It can set us free. And that's all I have to say tonight. If anyone has anything additional to add, please say it in the chat quickly, because I am winding myself down to our benediction now. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. This has been a quenching experience. You have slaked my thirst for connection. And it is an honor to have shared this space, this energy, this vulnerability, and this pleasure this evening with you. Let's all take one collective deep inhale. And a collective audible exhale. And Choco Sickle, what do you have to say for us? Yes, oh, I see. The biggest difference I noticed in the 3 videos was the varying amounts of pressure on the body. The first one, the bodies were mostly surrounded and compressed. The second one, about half, and the last one, even less so. Yes, it's almost like solid liquid gas. There's being encased, and then there's flowing a little bit more. You're in, but you're out. And then there is, you're just being rained on. You're kind of surrounded by water, but you know, they were using the water less for the witness, but more for the wetness and more for the weight. Yeah. So you're saying that they were using the water when they were surrounded by it, less for the wetness and more for the weight, I'm assuming. Because yes, there is a beautiful sense of weightlessness when you are in a pool and you're having sex. There's also something, it almost harkens back to being in that in utero state. You are surrounded, you are back in this like your first form. And when you're in a bathtub, it's kind of like dipping a cookie. And when you're in the shower, it's, I don't know, like, you know, you splash them, you're walking in the rain. You are, and there's something incredibly orgasmic about that too. I would like to see a video upload of making love in the rain. I know there has to be one. I may have to look into this, and if I do find it, I will have to share it at another watch party. Or perhaps I'll just have to create that content for myself. There's something about being showered while taking in pleasure. And there's something about being outdoors while taking in pleasure. And then having those both happen at the same time. There's a redoubling there. Bucket list item for sure. Yes, well, hopefully a bucket list item that you end up sharing on Make Love Not Porn as perhaps your first or one of many uploads, if you are considering joining the ranks of Make Love Not Porn stars. We would be thrilled, pleased even, to have you. But with that, one more deep collective sigh and exhale audibly, languidly, and with grace. It has been an honor and a pleasure to share space with you this evening. Until we meet again, my divinity recognizes yours.
If you are unfamiliar with Make Love Not Porn, Make Love Not Porn is a sex sharing platform that is pro-sex, pro-porn, and pro-knowing the difference. It is the world's first user-generated, human-curated social sex sharing platform. That means that we celebrate real-world sex as a counterpoint to porn. Make Love Not Porn makes sex social, which it makes it easier to talk about sex and promote healthy sexual behaviors and habits and across the community. Thank you for joining us, and welcome to the social sex revolution.